What's worse than being stuck on an airplane and your child getting sick? An entitled parent being stuck on the airplane with you. Fasten your seatbelts, this plane is definitely going to experience some turbulence. A sister cares about her brother and wants the best for her nephews, but he tries to manipulate the love she has for her nephews for his own material gain. Just wait until she finds out the truth. And our fan-submitted story. A couple plan an amazing surprise for their relatives a few weeks before their big day. That surprise turns sour when one relative refuses to play by the rules. What did she do to ruin the party? You'll only find out by watching this episode of VoiceyHere's Entitled Parents. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. And let's get straight into it. This story was called You Can Look After My Kids, and Give Them All Your Stuff Too. This is my first post here, and I hope you guys like it. Air travel drama is the worst. Some background info. I am an immigrant in one of the most remote countries on Earth. 2 years ago, when my daughter was 2, she was suffering through some allergies that no one seemed to diagnose correctly. And it was exhausting to constantly have her either sick or in hospital. I felt drained and depressed a lot of the time. Then stuff really hit the fan. My sister called at 5 AM one day, and as tactfully as possible, she told me my father was dying. For real, he had no time left. I wasn't completely shocked as his health had been declining for years, but I had to make a frantic dash to the other side of the world with a sickly toddler. He had gone completely blind and requested to hold her and listen to her laughing one last time. I couldn't refuse. My partner couldn't take off work due to commitments. So after the initial panic of trying to find any flight, we were set to go on a 21-hour trip, just baby and me. As soon as the plane had taken off, I heard 2 little kids whining and screaming somewhere behind us. The lady sitting right in front of us turned around about to make some joke, only to realize there was a toddler right behind her husband too. I heard her say, "Boy, this is gonna be hell." The little fighting entitled siblings occasionally ran down the aisle, screeching as if they were in a playground. No adult in sight. This was the first time the little boy laid eyes on my daughter's only carry-on, her stuffed chameleon. He made a weak attempt to grab it, but decided running was more important and went on. A couple of hours later, I noticed my daughter was getting squirmish, and a bright red rash was starting to cover her face. Oh no, she's having a reaction to something. I gave her all her antihistamines and set her down for a nap. She couldn't sleep because of the kids still screaming behind us, but the medication made her very sleepy and she quietly hugged my arm as she watched some cartoon. The lady in front of us turned again and said, "Oh wow, your daughter is doing so well. You are such a sweetie." I smiled to her, but I really didn't feel like having a conversation. I was drowning in my exhaustion and all the emotions. By this point, other passengers had started complaining about the seemingly endless tantrum coming from the back. Flight attendants came and went, but nothing changed. The entitled siblings ran around, screaming and climbing on seats. The husband in front of us got up and went to have a word. He looked so fed up. He takes some time back there and comes back frustrated. Those people were an unpleasant lot. My daughter finally falls asleep and I let go and start crying. What if we don't make it there on time? Suddenly, there is shouting and I hear a woman furiously stomping while she screams,
"That's it, I've had it with you."
Out of nowhere, the entitled mum stops, holding an entitled brat by the wrist in each hand, has one look at me and shouts,
"You!
Beg your pardon?
You can help me with them for a while."
Sorry?
"If you want to tell the whole plane how you think you're much better than me and your kid is perfect, you can help me out."
She says to her kids,
"Now you scoot along and sit here with this nice lady. You can play with the baby."
They cannot sit here. There is only one seat.
"Babies don't count, pick her up.
She's sleeping."
She will want to play."
As she said this, the boy reached straight across my lap and snatched the chameleon out of my daughter's hand, which woke her with a start, and she started crying. "You cannot take that, it's hers, give it back." He poked his tongue out at me and started taunting his sister with the toy, but not letting her reach it.
"You said she was sleeping, so he can have it."
This had already turned into a loud hell of baby crying, boy shouting, "Nah, nah," and little girl whining. I don't want anything to do with your children. Please leave us alone.
Don't be rude. I thought you were good with kids.
She gave me this smirk like she had just defeated me or something. Out of nowhere, the man in front of us turned around and told her loudly to get lost and take your little brats with you. Before more words were had, the little girl reached under my leg and tugged at the backpack on the floor. Hey, stop.
Oh, she loves My Little Pony.
In 3 seconds, she had tipped the entire contents into the aisle, and a mix of crayons, coloring books, finger puppets, diapers, and medicine bottles go all over the floor. She screams repeatedly,
"Mommy, I want paint."
Miraculously, the flight attendants reach us and demand everyone go back to their seats.
"We just wanted our bag back."
Your bag?
"This woman took my kids' toys, and they were just so upset."
Right on cue, the girl whined,
"My crayons!"
which made my daughter start crying loudly again. The man in front of us gets up and roars out, "You stop it now! None of this is yours, and you are harassing this lady and her baby."
"Don't talk to my babies like that. They love their toys, and this woman just wants everything for her darn baby."
Because it is hers. Please stop shouting, it upsets her.
"Wasn't she a good sleeping baby?"
"She's unwell, please give her her toy back and leave." The flight attendant pointed out half the contents of the bag were diapers and labeled medicines, so they can see who it belongs to. So this entitled mother stutters and grumbles, "Oh, alright," as she tries to walk away, but flight attendant 2 firmly asks she picks up all of the stuff. She bends down and her kids run away, still holding the stuffed animal and a handful of crayons. And as soon as she collects a bottle from the floor, she shouts at me again,
"You maniac! You evil woman! You drugged up your baby!"
I could not process what was happening. She just kept saying that I was going to overdose this precious baby just to get some sleep. Hadn't anyone noticed? This was probably not even my baby. I was furious, but in such shock I couldn't say anything. Luckily, the co-pilot came around and warned the woman to immediately take her seat and calm down, or they would be arrested upon landing for causing such a disturbance and harassing other passengers. It took me about 20 minutes to completely calm my daughter down. I was on the brink of crying myself. The man in front of us got up again, coming back with the stuffed chameleon and the crayons. He took me completely by surprise. "I'm ever so sorry for causing this. I told that woman to control her kids, but when she said she couldn't do it, I also told her another mother flying on her own was managing to keep a toddler calm and quiet, so she could try with her own kids too. I didn't know that this would happen. I'm so terribly sorry. I hope your daughter feels better soon." The rest of the flight was remarkably uneventful. 11 hours later we landed, and one of the flight attendants apologized profusely. She had also mentioned better behaved kids to this woman. I thought that'd be it, but no. When the woman was escorted for questioning, she stuck to her claims about me sedating my child, possibly for illegal purposes, since we look nothing alike. US security took us into a room and demanded detailed explanation as to why my child looks nothing like me. We don't share the same last name, our passports are from different countries, and her father is not traveling with us. I provided as much as I could, but they still held us until Immigration New Zealand got back to them and confirmed it all. We lost our connection, but fortunately, still made it on time to spend the last day with my dad. See, this has to be one of the least intelligent EPs we've seen so far. Most of the EPs at least have the common sense that the lies that they make up are in an environment that they can run away. In this situation, she's stuck on a plane, so there's no running away exactly. It seems like most of them imagine themselves to be masters of manipulation, perhaps because they can do it with their family members. However, when they encounter just normal, everyday human beings, they're unable to pull the wool over their eyes. This story was called "Don't You Dare Use My Kids as a Means to Swindle Me Out of Money," circa 2004. Entitled brother calls me and he seems to be in a state. "Sis, I need some help." Sup? "Well, money's really tight." It always is and always will be. "And after paying rent, I have like 0 cash for groceries." The boys won't have anything for school, lunches, or even decent suppers. Can you help me out? Now, I'm fiercely protective of my nephews, and he knows I'd do anything for them. But for himself and his wife, not so much, and he knows that too. I'll see what I can do. How much do you think you'll need? Would you be able to swing $300? I can pay you back when payday comes in 2 weeks. Considering $300 for a family of 5 would barely cover essentials, I thought this was reasonable. Okay, I think I can swing it. I can pick you up and we'll hit up the grocery store. I don't have time tonight. I was planning to go tomorrow morning. Would you be able to drop off a check or cash? He had no working vehicle and I lived a good 30-minute drive away. Besides, I had to work in the morning and I knew he worked afternoon shifts. Alright, give me an hour. I drive the 30 minutes, drop off the check to a seemingly very grateful entitled brother. Everything seemed fine. It was about 10 PM by the time I got home and crashed. At work the next day, I decided to call my brother and remind him to deposit the check right away. My sister-in-law answered the phone and I was shocked during the following conversation. Hey sis, is my brother home? No, he's out of town. Oh, did work send him off for something? No. He's on that road trip, remember? I was curious. What road trip? He's gone to Chicago for that D&D tournament. Are you backing out now? You told him you'd give him money for that. He and his 3 buddies decided to carpool and apparently he needed the $300 for his share of gas, food, and other travel expenses. No, I told him I'd give him money for groceries for your kids. You're telling me he's gone cross-country for a gaming tournament? Calm down, it's not like you're hurting for money. You can afford it. Granted, my husband and I make decent money, enough to be comfortable, but we work hard for it, and not once did we ever flaunt our perceived wealth in their faces. And I assure you, I never offered to pay for a road trip. If he can afford to go to a freaking D&D tournament, he can darn well afford groceries. You'd let your nephew starve? I hung up. I was so furious. But not as furious as I was several weeks later, when I got another call from my entitled brother with the same sob story. No money, kids are hungry, can just barely make rent, blah blah blah. Can you spare another $300 until I get my work bonus? Sure bro. When were you planning to go get the groceries? I was going to go tomorrow morning before going to work. What a coincidence. I have tomorrow off. I'll swing by around 9. No, it's okay. It would be easier for you to just drop off cash or a check so you can go on another effing road trip? I don't think so. He said nothing. See you at 9. He tries to protest and I laid it out for him. You get sweet F all unless I pick you up, take you to Kroger, and buy you groceries. And groceries are all you're gonna get. If your kids are starving, you'll find far more value in that and take me up on my offer. It's what you needed after all, by your own admission. I picked him up and took him to the store where he proceeded to get maybe $20 worth of food. Dropped him off at home where he left my vehicle without a word. Not even a thank you. But my satisfaction in confirming my suspicions was its own reward. For the record, I called my nephews that evening to make sure they had eaten, who excitedly told me they had takeout pizza for dinner. Bless their hearts. They really had no idea what kind of manipulator their dad could be. At least they're now at the age where they can see and understand what their parents are doing is wrong. I hope they continue to be the good boys that they are. This is the other tactic we see entitled parents use. If they don't flat out try and use physical force to steal and take property off someone else, or flat out assault their person, they'll use fraud. They'll try and make an arrangement with someone, but the whole time, they're lying about their situation. This story was called "My Daughter Didn't Win the Talent Show, so I'm Going to Break Your Trophy." Some background. My friends, my brother, and I had the great idea of making a band, just for fun. The talent show came up and not a lot of kids were entering, so it was practically first come, first serve for anyone who wanted to come in. You could practically make fart noises into the mic and you would get in. So we were like, let's do this for fun and not try too hard. It consisted of 5 people. I was on vocals. This really nice girl who was awesome at drums, she was on the school band team. My other friend at the electric guitar, he was going to do the electric guitar solo. My brother on the acoustic guitar, and the last friend who did the electric piano. The entitled mum in this is apparently the superintendent's secretary or something, I don't know. So the characters in this wild anime: my brother, the electric guitar guy, entitled mother's kid, but she's actually really kind, and the entitled mother. You can guess what me stands for? Me. Anyways, we were the last people to play before the talent show ended, so you could say the talent show went out with a bang. The first one was KG and her friends doing some ballet thing. It was impressive. Enter the entitled mother. The school had a specific rule as to no loud noises, so the kids didn't get distracted from their acts. Anyways, she was being really loud and cheering for her daughter. After KG's act was done, a couple of other acts went through, like a boy telling jokes that fell flat, and a girl singing, and some others. During all of this, the entitled mother was shouting not the nicest things to the kids who were trying to perform. It was saying stuff like, "You suck," and "Get off the stage." It was pretty hard not to be distracted. Anyways, our turn is up and we set up the electric guitar and the drums. Our plans were to play the acoustic version of "Send Me a Sign" by Gamma Ray. So we start off and everything is going well. Acoustic guitar friend is doing well, and the drum girl was being awesome as always, and I was getting the lyrics and pitch just right. So far, so good. The mother starts yelling at us that our song is bad and all that stuff. It's hard to decipher what she was saying over the sound of the instruments, but some of the parents in the audience were looking visibly uncomfortable. We finish our song, and ELG shredded the guitar like he was playing Guitar Hero. After every act is complete, my school has a voting system on who should be the winner, and the placements. After like 20 minutes, the votes are in and a teacher reads the placements. Third was the singing girl I mentioned before. Second was the entitled kid and her group. And first was me, my brother, and my friends. We were excited that we won, especially since we did it for fun and we didn't take it super serious. We got these plastic little trophies as an award. Here's the dialogue portion of this, from what I remember. "Nice job on winning. You really rocked out there." "Yeah, thanks, it was fun. And you did a really good job too."
"Your act sucked, and my daughter should have won instead of your stupid band."
"Whoa, slow your..."
"Don't tell me what to do. I know you cheated to win."
"Miss, we won fair and square, and to be honest, your daughter did really well out there."
"I know she did well, but she should have won. I'm calling the principal for cheating, you losers."
B steps in front of her, and B is a solid 6'1" varsity football lineman. He's a senior, and we're only sophomores.
"Excuse me, what did you just call my brother and his friends?" "You and your band are cheating little punks."
At this time, KG is really flustered, like her face is more red than Mars. The entitled mother with her sausage fingers and the force of a Boeing 747 hits my hand, and the plastic trophy hits the floor and splits in half. Excuse my language, but what the F is your deal?
"I'm calling the principal for your bad language."
And she trudges out the door. I went back to my house, and my legend of a mum managed to superglue the trophy together, and it looked almost good as new. It's been one school day and I haven't been called to the principal's yet. It's pretty telling that if the hero of this story didn't win, he would have been pretty chill about it. You can tell that the entitled mother has such an emotional investment into the success of her child, like it somehow reflects on her, that the threat of her child not winning somehow impacts her very identity. And that's the problem with staking your value or your identity to either your success or, even worse, the external success of someone else, because it's always going to fluctuate. And you can see she just can't handle it. It's like she has an existential crisis. This fan-submitted story was called Entitled Parent Ruins Brother's Wedding. Backstory for some backstory. At the time of this story, which was around 3 months ago, my brother had recently graduated and got a stable job. He decided to propose to his girlfriend of 3 years, and she agreed. Okay, let's get into this. So after the wedding was over, we were happy, and it was generally great. Now, my brother invited some of our relatives, and our relatives only, a few weeks before the wedding to come to their house to show them around the house and spend the night together. Fast forward and all of our relatives are there, aunts, cousins, and many more. And when we got home, we saw that my aunt, let's call her EA, was sitting next to her 2 children, one about 7 and the other 8. And before we go forward, I would like to mention that my brother specifically asked anyone who would bring children to tell us and let us know their favorite video game beforehand, because we had a big surprise for the children. It was so secret that even I didn't know about it. Now, our aunt didn't tell us she was bringing any children, but obviously she did, so the conversation between my brother and her goes a bit like this. Hello there, aunt.
Oh hey B, congratulations for the wedding.
Thanks, aunt. Are these 2 your children?
Yes they are. Is there a problem?
Yes, we told everyone to tell us if they are bringing their children, because there is a surprise for them. You didn't tell us you were bringing your children. She speaks to him in an unpleasant way.
No one told me. But it's alright, my children aren't going to care about surprises anyway.
Are you sure it's a good surprise?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Alright then. My brother kind of ignores this and continues on. And when it comes time to show the kids the surprise, my brother and his wife excitedly open a door, and holy crap, it was insane. It was a huge gaming room decked out with lights, TVs, and every kind of console and arcade you could think of. We were all in shock. Turns out my brother's wife was a huge gamer like him, and they agreed to make this room together. All the kids were ecstatic and were super happy. Now, the reason we asked for the number of kids and their favorite games was because my brother had not only bought the games that the kids said they liked, he was going to buy them anyways, but he also set up a table full of cupcakes and many desserts. Now, he bought them to total the number of kids exactly. All the kids were super happy and went to play and eat. Now here comes the entitled aunt. She starts heading her kids to the room, but my brother didn't say anything, thinking that the entitled aunt would understand why there wasn't any desserts. But oh boy was he wrong. My aunt was practically screaming, "B, come here now!" My brother was shocked but replied back, "What is it, aunt?"
Why aren't there any desserts for my kids?
Because you didn't tell us they were coming and we didn't include them in. She starts rambling and shouting at how we should have included extras. And my brother is still trying to explain to her that the reason we didn't have extras was because we asked for the number of kids, and the desserts were expensive. But my aunt was having none of it. My kids need to have desserts. After a lot of back and forth, my brother was so sick of it that he gave her kids his own dessert that was special for the husband and wife. When people are so selfish and self-absorbed in their greed, they're completely oblivious to the situation that they're in. This was a special occasion to celebrate the wedding, but her entitlement was so demanding that the groom even had to sacrifice something that was special to him. Let me know if you've had a family member that was so entitled on a special day for you that it almost ruined your day, because I know there are definitely going to be more stories out there. If you'd like your story to be narrated by me, don't forget to visit the subreddit r/VoiceyHere, link below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.